make yourself nice and comfortable. We've got people joining us on the internet as well, thousands of people, and only do so if it's safe to do so. If you're driving, operating machinery, it might not be a good idea to join in. And equally, if you are under clinical supervision, before you do the meditations, I would always seek advice first of all to see if they're appropriate for you to do so. That said and done, these are non-intrusive meditations. We're going to cover 3 of them. And the first one being a nice, gentle one. Equally in saying that, those of you who have attended and watching, do feel free to email me. I'm more than happy to email some of the background behind these meditations, because there's many of them. Because you might have a intellectual curiosity and an experiential curiosity. So there's something wrong with it. So make yourself comfortable and feel free to lie down, sit down, whatever works for you. Just adjusting the posture. And as you adjust the posture, just breathing naturally and normally. And perhaps you might want to close your eyes. Or you can look at a spot on the wall and just adjust your back, your breathing, and you begin to become aware of any sensations in the body without attempting to control any sensations. Just being with it, letting things flow. And as you let things flow, just become aware of your breathing happening automatically. And as you breathe in and breathe out, perhaps you notice your heart beats. Become more aware of your breathing. The last breath is gone, you can't get that back. You can't take the next breath. The only breath you can take is the breath you take now. And breathe. And releasing the tension. Releasing tension. And stay with your breath. And there's no need now to be hard on yourself or beat yourself up. Just let your mind wander. That's what the mind does. And just release any tension that you might have in your neck or your back. And breathe. Or perhaps your feet. There might be some tension. Just breathing in, staying with your breath. And let any thoughts, feelings and sounds flow in the background. If the mind gets caught up on anything, like what you did yesterday or what you've got planned later, use the breath to bring you back to the now. You might be thinking about later, you might be thinking about before, yesterday, tomorrow, and just bring your thoughts back to the now. The only moment you have is the now. And just breathe to ground your awareness. As your mind wanders. And just center your awareness in the now. Okay. Now in your own time, in your own pace, just gradually come back to the here and now. Okay, so just opening your eyes gently. Okay, fantastic. So just have a bit of a breathe. It's a short meditation. I'm going to go on to the next one now. Is everyone okay? Did everyone find it okay, the meditation? You're all okay? Okay, so I'll put another tune on shortly. Use some time now to sort of process it. to sort of process that. How did everyone feel in the meditation? How did people feel? How was your mind? Any sort of thoughts or feedback? How did you feel during the meditation? I'm not on my phone, by the way, as in fun. I'm trying to find another tune for you guys for next month. Yeah. I'm not being ignorant. So, how was your day, Andy? How was your day? Yeah. I'm trying to find a tune. As I find another tune, how did you find it yourself?
I had no thoughts. Whatsoever.
Fantastic.
I had no thoughts whatsoever. Good.
Fantastic. Anybody else?
I can feel my mind wander, but you just bring it back to the breath and.
Well, your mind's wandering to Everton now, isn't it? Is Pochettino going to go to Everton? You heard it here first. No, I don't know. I mean, if you were Pochettino, would you want to? So that's a fantastic club. But anyone find that there was the sort of putting the park break or the predictive text of the mind? Anyone have that where your mind's like a predictive text that kind of, you start texting, not that I'm texting now, I'm trying to find a tune.
It's off.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Everyone okay? Everyone find it okay? We're all good? Okay. So have a breather, and people are watching as well, and equally if you're watching too, just feel free to email me some feedback, how you found that. We're going to move on to another meditation now, very shortly. And we're just going to gradually do it, and I'll sort of explain the rationale behind the meditations. In the time we've got, we'll sort of crack on with things, and I'll send you some information if you haven't already got it about the meditations. And do bear in mind when I send information, sometimes it goes to spam or maybe your folder, maybe on the block list on your database, but sometimes it doesn't go through. I do send information in this area, that's for sure. So once again, if you're comfortable to make yourself nice and comfortable. Okay, so I'll put another tune on for you. So nice and comfortable. And just adjust your posture. As one does, as you do. Just correcting your posture and sit comfortable. As comfortable as you feel your feet on the floor, and perhaps you notice your back on the chair, and your shoulders and neck. And as you do that, perhaps you notice your heart beating and breathing. And I want you to let go of the events of the day. So perhaps you're driving in today and got stuck in some traffic, or perhaps you're thinking about tomorrow or next week, or you got a deadline for something, or perhaps something happened, and let things go just momentarily, and getting out of your own head and focusing on the breathing. So letting go of the events of the day and tomorrow, and being in the now, and become more aware of sensations. Being present in your own body, slowing the mind down and breathing. And perhaps there's many fragmented thoughts circulating. And just be with them and let them flow. A bit like watching a waterfall. And you watch the waterfall and the waterfall of your thoughts flowing down. Now, if you would like to breathe air to any areas of tension in the body, and you might have a tense shoulder or a tense back or neck, and just breathe in air to any areas of tension. And just like when you stub your toe or hit your funny bone, and you have a moment there, the pain will subside. The emotion will subside without focusing on it for longer than you need to focus on. Let it flow like the waterfall. You're aware of any sensations. And bring your attention to anything that may have happened in the past few days that you think might be unfair. It might have been the way someone treated you at a restaurant or a friend, or just in passing. Or it might be the way you treated someone else, and you might be beating yourself up for treating someone else what you consider being unfairly. And allow yourself to experience the feeling the memory of the situation brings, and just be with it without any judgment or trying to change it. Open to experiencing without changing or resisting. And notice any feelings in the body and any thoughts. Just let things flow. So open to experience without change. And now, holding that thought, just like we have that physiology, we stub our toe or hit our funny bone, but hold the thought in the space of awareness. And you can bring it close or far away or close, and just notice the narrative. What is the story? Who's blaming who? Who's the victim? Are you trying to change what is already done, gone? Is it a pattern? A theme? Is it recurring? And without trying to change anything, just being self-aware. What is the story you're telling yourself? Are you blaming yourself or blaming somebody else? Are you the victim or somebody else is the victim? Are you trying to rewrite the wrongs? Is it a pattern that happens? A theme? Is it recurring? And just explore the inner dialogue and see if you can hold them in your awareness the same way you hold sensations in your body. Just aware, just noticing as they arise, pass through the mind and dissolve back in your awareness. And explore the relationship between the feelings, the thoughts that arise, and how this reflects on your body's sensations. What happens to you? Any strong feelings about the situation? If you just stay with a flux of the body sensations and observe the whole cascade as if you're watching a movie, fully present to what's going on, fully aware, but not taking it as entirely real, just the images that pass through, the experiences that pass through the mind. Before we end this practice, just remind yourself that you can return this mindful awareness whenever you feel or have a strong feeling throughout the day, particularly a stressful situation, unpleasant interaction. Instead of being carried away by the feelings and the stories that arise with them, just reconnect with the body and breathe and see what happens if you're mindfully aware of the experience as it unfolds in real life, real time. You always have a choice, no matter how strong the experience might appear to be, even if it feels like it's always completely taking over us. It's always us how to choose our response in every situation. Okay? Now in your own time, in your own pace, just come back to the here and now and breathing in naturally and normally. Gradually opening your eyes. Fantastic. Okay, so we'll do one more. We'll give you a bit of a breather now, so we'll give you a minute or two and before we do another meditation. Okay. Is everyone okay? So we'll just check up if everyone's okay. Does anyone want to stretch or walk or stretch your legs and be like, okay. So once again, I'm not being, I'm sort of putting another tune on for you. As you do, it's, how did you find any feedback on that one, that meditation?
Deeper.
Okay, you went deeper. Any thoughts on the meditation itself? How did you find being with the?
It's just effortless. It's light. It's just space, awareness.
Yeah, and you're okay with the actual thoughts themselves. Yeah, okay.
I'm not someone
who's used to meditation, so what happens when you start to fall asleep? What's that about?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Providing you're not driving or operating machinery. Do you know, I always say to people, if they do drift off, then it's probably more than likely the body needs that sleep. Obviously, if you've got as at lunchtime you've got to get back to work, the organisation you're at might not incorporate siesta. But I always say to people, if you do drift off and fall asleep, then if it's okay, if it's safe to do so, and anything else, then so be it. The idea is not to drift off into that sort of sleep, but I always say to people, there's no right or wrong in meditation, mindfulness. It's just being with it. And some people might struggle, some people might decide, well, I just feel like getting up and walking, it's okay. You sort of modify it around the person. We can all improve. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, that's for sure. But equally, the more we do it, like anything, and Paul will tell you in training, from a physiological perspective, do we do one training session, Paul, and we're sort of in great shape?
1 week 9, aren't we, at the moment? So
Well, no, precisely. So it takes time. It takes time, and that's and the same applies to mindfulness. It takes time, but equally, that's not to say you can't get a lot out of a short time. It just all depends on people go into it with intention. I always suggest to people just going into it to give your mind a break is a good place to start. Some people go into these meditations trying to generate the latest great idea or manifest the latest. And I always say people just go into it with as an opportunity for the mind to sort of kick back and just see where things take you. A bit of a break. Any more feedback? I'm looking for this specific tune, by the way, as you do. Any other sort of feedback on okay? How did you find it yourself, Andy? How did you find it?
Yeah, great. Yeah. Sometimes when you say think of a time when someone's upset you or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes I don't even feel the need to follow that. I'll just go.
Yeah.
Just go.
You've got to the point where you're becoming like one of them monks in the Himalayas.
I thought my chair was levitating.
Yes. Us mere mortals, we get affected.
I think I was exposed to it when I was younger.
Yes, I can see that.
Yes. He was a Japanese teacher, and he had to meditate me before and after every, so I was exposed to it.
Yes, and do bear in mind as well too, by the way, that Andy's not telling us that he actually has been doing a mindfulness program, a sophisticated program, I believe. So, not my one. But but you are. How's that going anyway?
Yeah, it's great. It's with the local GP.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get aligned with it. I think his program actually comes from the Breathworks, which is based in Manchester.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, and that's great. And it's great to see that GPs are incorporating it, aren't they, as well?
Yeah.
And there is evidence based around mindfulness too, by the way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of evidence around mindfulness. Not that it matters. It's okay. 4,000 years ago, it wasn't about the evidence. So secular mindfulness, we have to sometimes be respectful of the fact that this has been around for many, many years. Before my time, maybe more in line with your time.
Just.
So we'll do one more meditation, and we've got time for one more meditation, and then we'll go from there. So I'll put the music on, and as you do, this is a nice track, by the way, a nice tune that's appropriate for this one here. Is everyone okay are we all good? Just sort of checking up. Everyone inside the land over there, watching if they're okay, and once again, only joining with it's safe to do so. If you're driving or operating machinery, or if there's any reason that you may not do. So take a moment now to check your posture. Adopting a posture alert, awake, and is comfortable to you. Now grounding yourself through the feet on the floor, resting in the chair, and allowing the back to elongate towards the ceiling. Easy neck and soft on the shoulders, and releasing any unnecessary tension in the upper part of the body, and just slightly opening the chest and gently tucking in the chin and dropping into your body and fully inhabiting your body. Not trying to control our thoughts, merely experiencing as passing events. Acknowledging any feelings that are there. Slow down any agitation or anticipation. Releasing any effort. And releasing any desire to try too hard for something special to happen. Just simply being. Just giving ourselves the space and time to rest and step out of time. Expanding our awareness to include our entire body, the room, the sounds. Use the breath to anchor, to quieten our mind and bring it back to the present. Whenever we find ourselves to being carried away by a train of thought, just bring yourself back to the present and breathe. Now bring to mind the person in your life. It could be a grandparent. It could be a sibling. It could be a best friend.
On a summer's day.
Anyone in your life who always makes you feel welcome.
Reflection on the blue, calm lake.
And bring to mind anyone that gives you that feeling of love and empathy. No matter what you do, they're always there for you. Always with a warm embrace. Just evoking that feeling of what it's like to be unconditionally loved. So welcomed. Someone in whose company you don't have to be anyone or pretend to be a particular way. You can just be yourself. And you feel that no matter what, you're not going to be judged. No matter how many mistakes you make, allow that warm, loving feeling you experience in the presence of this person. Allow it to spread through your body and soak it in. And just give yourself that unconditional love. Really experience that unconditional love. And breathing in naturally and normally. And soaking in. And notice any resistances you might experience when you receive such an invitation. See if you can gently imagine like being in a warm bath and allow yourself to just soak in this warm love cloud. See how much love you can take. Now bring to mind the person close to you, perhaps a friend, a colleague, and extend that warm, loving feeling to them. Just shower them with this lovely, warm embrace. Connect with sensations in your chest as you allow your heart open to the experience, this lovely moment with your friend. And then see if you can extend this open, warm heartedness towards someone you find mildly annoying, someone you have a slight dislike for whatever reason. It may not be clear to you. All of us just want to be safe, loved and happy. No matter how confused our behavior might be, ultimately all desire the same, to be free from harm, and to be loved and accepted. See if you can extend this warm heartness to people that you find difficult to deal with. And see if you can find this appreciation that they just want to be happy, safe and loved and understood. No matter how confused their behaviour might be, just feeling compassion for their destructiveness. Anything they might have caused, any anger they might be lost in. Just wish them well. Wishing in the clarity and wisdom. Wishing for their hearts to be open and content. And then expanding the same compassion and loving feeling towards all beings, humans, animals, whoever and whatever comes to mind. Just wishing them well, free from harm and happy. No need to imagine anyone, anything, clearing the mind or any name of any person. Just soaking in this warm feeling and expanding the feeling as you reconnect with the body sensations around your heart area. If you are radiating the rainbow lights of love and openness and acceptance to all beings. And just resting in that sensation for a moment. And before we conclude this practice, just notice for yourself that you can invoke these loving feelings for yourself and others in challenging situations in your daily life. If a situation arises you notice you have any thoughts of regret, just be gentle with yourself and that loving feelings towards yourself. And just know there's always an opportunity to do better next time. And in your own time, in your own pace, just come back to the here and now, gradually. Okay, wonderful. These meditations, I've got variations of them on iTunes. I've also done the stream, so you can go back if you are a facilitator meditations, you've got an idea. The last meditation, sometimes people say to me, I don't feel comfortable extending that love and warmth to you don't, whatever you feel comfortable doing. But what I would say, it's not about being Pollyanna and the world's one little place and all love and kindness to one and all. I know people upset people and do bad things to people. All I would say is that sometimes what can happen with people, they get stuck as well. So someone does something to you, whatever that might be, and that's not condoning it, but you having anger and resentment towards that person in some situations, in certain circumstances, who's that harming? It's like having a hot coal in your hand and trying to throw it at somebody else, isn't it? The person's done me wrong, and that's what it sort of comes down to. It's just even to free and liberate ourselves from sometimes that sort of the sort of prison of that feeling. Now, that's not saying and suggesting in every situation, I wish that person. Absolutely, I'm not suggesting that. It's where it's appropriate and applicable. But what I would say, it's also useful because we suppress our force. What happens? You get a fizzy pop, you shake it, and that's the idea. Just gently let out the steam. Okay, and that can be quite useful in many areas. Okay, so I'll sort of switch this up actually, and then we'll have a few questions and go from there.